Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about movies, TV and online content. Help you to answer the question, which came first? Delays because of piracy, or piracy because of the delays? It really is the modern day chicken and the egg. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
Hello. Yeah, I can't be avoided answering. Hello.
Yep. It's a mind boggler. Like which came first? On today's episode of What Do You Want to Watch, we'll be discussing what's in our watch history, covering a little bit of news. We'll be giving some thumbs to some trailers, talking about this week's top 3. Let's kick things off with a little bit of Explosion Network self-promotion. Over on the Holocron Entries feed, our special Star Wars podcast, we talked about the new Star Wars series that dropped on Disney+. Star Wars Visions, a series of short episodes, I guess, short tales from various Japanese animation studios and people. Yeah, we talked about all of that over at Holocron Entries, but Dylan, do you want to give your overall thoughts on the series?
Yeah, it's good. It's like, hey, do you like Star Wars and you want to just see some people play around with different ideas and kind of be let loose because it's not set in the canon universe, so people can go wild and you get some really like trippy anime, like fully Japan shit happening, and then some of the other stuff small reined in as well. But the opener's very like just straight up, let's go full on samurai, but Star Wars, and that's really cool. I would say there's my top 3, I'm like, these are all bangers. These could all be their own shows. My bottom 3, I'm like, there, and then in the middle, they're just enjoyable. But so for the most part, it's well worth watching, and I would suggest watching it because the good thing about these sorts of shows is even if you dislike one episode, you probably like the next one. So, it's not the end of the world.
Maybe. Yeah, they were quite good. Obviously, well animated. If maybe everyone wasn't particularly your favorite art style or whatever, there was also something to look forward to. Yeah, and some interesting ideas that hopefully get to be expanded upon in the future. Of course, all these stories are non-canon because, why would they be? But yeah, some interesting imagery and ideas, and like obviously the meshing of like Japanese culture with Star Wars is quite interesting and quite interesting to look at. So yeah, listen to those episodes of Holocron Entries after you checked out Star Wars Visions to hear our spoiler-filled thoughts on that. Dylan, you put up a review for The Alpinist. Am I saying that right?
Alpinist? I think. Like
that makes more sense, yeah.
Alpinist? Yeah, I think. I don't recall if they say it in the movie. They probably do.
Yes.
So, but I mean, it's just, that's the title. Also, they're just running out of names for documentaries, I guess, about
people.
Like, free climbers. So, or because it's like whatever else. This is really good. I really enjoyed it. It made me want to go watch Free Solo, which I haven't watched yet.
What?
No, I still haven't watched
really?
it. My one reference to it in the review is based off what I've read. No, it's based on something I knew about having read someone else's review for it back, 2 years ago or whatever.
Dylan, Free Solo is on Disney Plus right now. Has been for the last 12 months. Or more. I don't know how long Disney Plus has been out.
I actually think I will watch it soon. I nearly watched it the same day I watched The Alpinist, actually, because I got sent a screener, so I watched it at home. Although you can watch in cinemas, it is in cinemas now. So, and I would suggest it because it's got some really good cinematography and this sort of stuff. And that's sort of one of the standouts is I don't know how they get the camera so close to someone like that, and it's sort of daunting to be able to see someone just hanging off. I don't know if it's. I know it's weird.
Drones and a massive zoom camera lens.
Maybe. But yeah, just seeing the view. The difference between this one and the other thing I think that helps this is, I pointed out in my review, is they get old mate Alex Honnold. Is that how you say his name? From Free Solo?
I want to say.
Honnold, yeah. He opens this with an interview. So I think it's really smart because people are going to be watching this after Free Solo's success. And I presume a lot of people, as far as free climbing goes, maybe Free Solo's their only sort of, would you say you've watched a bunch more free climbing documentaries?
I watched
you've just seen
one other one. Yeah,
but you haven't gone crazy.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like most people are just going to think Free Solo, but the cool thing this does is because they know that sort of the success that movie had being an Oscar winner. This starts with an interview with Alex where he's saying that the lead character that they're following in this one, Marc-Andre Leclerc, I think this is how you say his name. Probably wrong the last part, but it's fine. It starts with Alex talking about how crazy this kid is and like how he's doing some of the most insane stuff out there at the moment and whatever else. So it does a very good job of sort of setting up, hey, if you thought Alex was insane than that, wait until you get a hold of this guy. They're very different characters, especially even not having watched all of Free Solo with the interview segments with Alex. It's very much like he's like, look, I'm a competitive dude. They do like one part where Marc-Andre accidentally beats the climbing record that Alex had on her climb, and he didn't even mean to. Like, he was just sort of joshing around. So then Alex goes down there or whatever to get the record back because he's like a really competitive dude. He wants to have it. Whereas Marc-Andre is he's more of a free spirit. The reason he likes climbing is solely for the experience of it, and he's not fussed about doing it for fame or for the sport or whatever. Yeah, like to the degree that the movie starts and explains how this dude barely has any footage of him out there. Like, he never records what he does. He never like really posts anything. He's just out there doing this stuff. And people hear about it and like people see him do it or whatever, but like he's not really going hardcore or whatever. So the documentary starts with these people, the documentarians, tracking him down, and you get to know him. And yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. He's an interesting character that seems well out of his the time zone maybe he should have been born in. But if you liked Free Solo, I'd say you would definitely enjoy this. So yeah.
So it's Free Solo with ice, right? That's the difference.
He does. No, well, it's not all ice.
Okay.
The first half of the movie, like, it's rock climbing. And then it gets to a degree where he decides he'll go do ice climbing as well, just because get the kick out of it. And they do explain that free climbing on ice is way more dangerous than rocks, because with rocks, it's solid and you know what you're doing. Ice, you run the risk of the ice melting or it cracks and like it'll just fall. Avalanches, all sorts of just like more hazardous things. So yeah, a lot of other free climbers in this are like, I won't do ice because that's just way too unpredictable. So
cool. So I checked out the first 2 episodes of the new Apple TV Plus series Foundation. So they're based on the Isaac Asimov books, pretty much telling the story of this galactic empire sometime in, well, I'd have to assume it's in the future. It could be. There's no specification. I don't know if they actually even bring up Earth as a planet, but a mathematician called Harry Seldon, through maths, discovers that in the next 5,000 years, the galactic empire is set to crumble, and a millennia of war is ahead for the human race, I guess. And he wants to kind of stop, or well, not necessarily stop it, but kind of lessen the dark ages of this upcoming period in time. Of course, the Galactic Empire doesn't particularly like his theory, long believing that they're the bastions of peace in the universe, and kind of the first episode is pretty much them going to trial and kind of thinking he's some sort of terrorist or something, before, letting him do his work away from the rest of the Galactic Empire out on the underworlds. It's clear that they put a lot of money into this. It looks very good, at least the first episode does. There's some like kind of iffy stuff in the second episode. But yeah, I think it's quite an interesting world, and it kind of, at the end of the second episode, I was kind of like, I want to keep watching it. It's very dense. It's obviously got a lot of big ideas and a lot of terminology and math stuff that kind of went over my head to a certain degree, and like is kind of hard to wrap your mind around. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Lee Pace plays. So in the Galactic Empire, they've got these 3 brothers, but they're all at different ages. And I believe they're like cloned to become like, and then like the youngest little kid version grows up to become the middle normal age, like adult ruler.
The fuck are you saying?
So they're ruled by 3 emperors. There's a adult aged empire, a kid emperor, and like an old man emperor.
Right.
And then they obviously swap between as they age, becoming whatever.
So a younger one comes in and the others rotate up.
Yeah. Well, I guess eventually the old one dies and gets replaced by...
What if the
a
middle
young
one dies first, somehow?
I don't think that happens because obviously they're heavily protected, like the royal family. So yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, interesting. Lee Pace plays the middle emperor. I think what's Lee Pace plays Brother Day. Yeah, they're a series of middle-aged genetic clones. It like I said, there's a lot of like stuff that kind of goes over your head, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think it's obviously an interesting world. It's like early days, obviously, created by David S. Goyer and Josh Friedman, who have done various sci-fi properties and different kind of things before. So I feel like I'm in good hands and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just a lot of world building. These last couple of episodes is like a little bit hard to keep track of, but enough that gets you interested into watching more. So if you've got Apple TV Plus, check it out after you've watched Ted Lasso every week. Or after you watch the second season of Morning Wars, or The Morning Show, as it's known everywhere except Australia, because everywhere doesn't have like a weird actual morning show called The Morning Show.
Which surprises me, to be honest, but yeah.
So second season kicks off, 8 months after the events of the first season, where they go off the air after exposing a massive cultural sexist culture in the
They got Activisioned.
Yeah, they got Activisioned by their own personnel.
Yeah.
It pretty much follows up 8 months later. Alex Levy, played by Jennifer Aniston, left the show, it turns out, right after the events. Just resigned and was replaced by Hassan Minaj's character. But fast forward 8 months, a person on the nightly news job, comes up, and Billy Crudup's character, who gets rehired sometime in that 8 months to take over, decides he's going to take the job as head of nightly news instead of Bradley Jackson, played by Reese Witherspoon. And his big idea to keep the morning show big and fresh is to bring back Alex Levy. Yeah. Bring her back. So, Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, back together again. And with all that entails with the history and the kind of backstabbing and competing around that show and for control and everything. Interesting note, it's set... The first episode ends midnight of New Year's Day 2021. Oh, 2020. So it starts right at the start of 2020. Even to the extent of after the there's obviously clues as to what's to come and that kind of stuff. Even to the extent that the show ends with someone sneezing in the background and then Billy Crudup saying fuck. And yeah, it's kind of...
That sounds a little on the nose.
It is a little on the nose, but,
silly.
They do open... The show actually opens with a bunch of drone shots through the streets of New York, obviously, while the city's shut down and there's nobody around. And then they go, 6 months before. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, obviously, if you like the first season of the morning show, it's more of that. They do bring back Steve Carell. He's doing stuff over in Italy. He's, trying to hide away. There's still more lawsuits.
They Roman Polanski'd him.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he did well. Yeah. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Billy Crudup is I think they realize what. Obviously, he won the Emmy for his role in the first season. I think they've kind of leaned more into that this season. Of him. Obviously, he's in charge of everything now, whereas before he was just in charge of news. And he's trying to, he's trying to do, to a certain degree, it seems like he's trying to pull too many strings at the same time. It's kind of flying by the seat of his pants, was quite interesting to watch. And they kind of bring back, everybody, and, again, they're dealing with, coronavirus and talking about the impeachment and Iowa caucuses and all kinds of stuff. So,
Sounds like they're trying to be more like the newsroom now.
a little bit. Maybe not rewriting history so heavily or preaching and that kind of stuff. In the third episode, they introduced Juliana Margulies from The Good Wife fame as a veteran reporter who's interviewing them for like a special before she joins back up with the show. I'm enjoying it so far. If you like the dynamics of the first season, you'll probably enjoy the dynamics of the second season. So yeah, check that out on Apple TV+. Dylan, you watched a film called Seance. I believe this is coming to Shudder, right?
Yeah, I think it's out, and I haven't posted my review yet. But anyway, it's an okay horror movie. So the reason I was keen for this one is, I have to get the director's name right. The reason I was keen is because the director is a usual writer for what's his Simon Barrett is the name, right? So he's most famous as being the guy who wrote a lot of Adam Wingard's big hits. So like You're Next, The Guests, Blair Witch, whatever else. And then he's been involved in doing like VHS 1, 2, and whatever else. Anyway, so this is his directorial debut. So he wrote and directed it. It's about, what's the character's name? Camille, played by Suki Waterhouse. She shows up. So it's this like old girls boarding school. And the movie starts with them doing seance. And then the girl gets thrown out of window somehow. Of course, they're like, oh, she fell or whatever to her death. So now a place opens up in this old boarding school. So that's when the new character comes in and spooky stuff starts happening. There's real bitchy girls. Who's killing them? Is it a ghost? Isn't it a ghost? Dun, dun, dun. It's fun at times. I just feel like Simon, you could see how maybe under a different director, like Adam, like takes this material and makes it more fun. Like you can see the same style as all the rest of those movies, like the Adam Wingard directed ones. And this movie even tries to have as much of a kind of crazy third act that a lot of those movies do, where they go from being sort of a thriller horror into more of a just outright action movie to a degree. Or some major sort of tonal genre change usually happens in the third act of a lot of these movies. But he doesn't really pull it off as well. And tonally, the way it's shot, or not tonally, I guess, yeah, just the way it looks, the way it's shot, it almost feels like it's trying to be a teen fun, like a teen camp fun comedy, a comedy horror type thing, but it's being shot like it's fucking, what was that one we watched a while back that got remade about like the witch coven thing?
Dystopia or no?
Whatever that is. So yeah, that thing. You know what I mean, though. Does it start
Dakota
with
Johnson?
Suspiria?
Suspiria.
So Suspiria. Like it looks like they're trying to shoot it more in line with like Suspiria and be like that tone of a horror movie, but it's like a bunch of teen girls and the way I don't know, it's just like a weird dilemma of like things. But yeah, so I thought it was okay. There's like some cool, interesting changes than your typical genre tropes that happen here, which was good to see. So not go down the usual road for certain characters and stuff, but yeah, it just gets mixed between like what's on the page and what comes out the other end. But yeah.
Okay. Actually, now that I remember, also on Apple TV Plus, I checked out the first episode of The Problem with Jon Stewart, which probably should have a comma after The Problem. So it's The Problem with Jon Stewart.
Yeah, what is the problem with Jon Stewart?
Not much. I mean, the show's got issues, but it's pretty much Jon Stewart coming back doing a late night-esque deep dive TV show, more in the vein of Last Week Tonight than The Daily Show. Obviously, having the opportunity to have deep dives with into topics, and also like interview people extensively, not just have somebody on to promote a book or a TV show. The first episode that I watched was about obviously war veterans, not obviously, but war veterans who are kind of being left behind by the healthcare system, mostly due to the effects of burn pits, which are these, over in like Iraq and Afghanistan, that kind of stuff. Obviously, they don't have much waste disposal facilities over there, So what they'll do is they'll just chuck everything into a big pit and light it on fire. And you can imagine, probably not the best thing for your health to be around that kind of stuff. And so, people have obviously had complications because of that. They go undiagnosed, and unfortunately, like, they aren't getting the support they want from the country that they've, like, sacrificed and done their duty for and that kind of stuff. So, obviously, a subject matter that hits quite close to home to Jon Stewart, who has, in the past, like, advocated for, like, 9/11 responders and that kind of stuff to get proper healthcare and that kind of stuff. It is odd, like, the segment-wise. It's, like, kind of broken... Well, at least this first episode was broken up with, like, a big monologue cut, then a group interview with a bunch of different people on the subject, and then, like, a third segment is, like, an interview with someone who could actually... from, like, Veteran Affairs or whatever. But in between these are, like, these weird skits that really feel out of place, especially when you're tackling, like, really quite depressing subject matter that really weren't very funny or, like, didn't really fit with the show at all. So hopefully those kind of things drop off. But yeah, the problem with Jon Stewart comes out every Friday, I believe, as well. So there's 2 episodes up at the moment. So if you miss Jon Stewart on TV, he's running on the other show. If you need another white man to tell you about all the bad things happening in the world, check that out. And then I also watched a documentary over on Amazon Prime Video called Kid 90. So this is a documentary directed and produced by Solil Moonfry, who most people would know from her being Punky Brewster. So during her time in Hollywood, or during the 90s, she took a video camera around with her everywhere and just kind of documented everything that happened to her all the time, pretty much, and had kind of put all this stuff away, and only recently went back and looked at it all. And obviously,
I honestly feel like you're describing the Val Kilmer movie.
It is pretty much the Val Kilmer movie. It turns out that all these people who have old home movies, as long as they're famous, they can make a documentary. But yeah, obviously quite interesting. Obviously, I don't know nothing about Punky Brewster or anything like that, so that
I know they brought her back. Right?
I know they brought it back, and they do have one shot of like of them filming, like in the end credits, like as a started here and ended here.
That's on Stan though, right?
It is on Stan. One season got cancelled.
This is on Amazon.
This is on Amazon Prime. Yeah, the documentary. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of faces that who listed: David Arquette, Brian Austin Green, Stephen Dorff, Paul Gosselaar, Danny Boy O'Connor from House of Pain, Harold Hunter, Sarah Gilbert, Charlie Sheen, Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Wahlberg, Corey Feldman, Michael Rappaport. And it's kind of interesting, like, all this footage kind of out of context, given the context of her looking back at it, and kind of almost acts as like a biography to a certain degree. But also she brings up like some of the footage is obviously a lot of those child actors didn't they had issues. Obviously she discusses like all the drugs and stuff they were taking at the time, and like even has some footage of like them on mushrooms and that kind of stuff. And then she talks about a lot of how now that she looks back at that footage, all the signs were there for a number of those people that were like having issues and who would go on to die by suicide and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I thought it was a quite an interesting piece. It's only like not 70 minutes long, so it's really short. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it. A lot of interesting messages in there and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would recommend checking that out. It's on Amazon Prime. All right, let's jump into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, I talked about Sex Education Season 3 last episode. Finally gotten around to watch the 8 episodes of this third season. What did you think?
Comes and goes so fast. It's so good every time. Yeah, I mean, this is like Netflix's best show at the moment, right? We're gonna what else is there? Tell me, what else is there? There's nothing.
The Witcher.
Nah, this is better than The Witcher. What else you got? Go on. Nah,
The Crown.
Oh, fuck that shit.
The Academy
no,
Award.
The show's really
the Emmy Award winning drama series.
This should be it.
Stranger
this
Things.
Should be Emmy Award.
Some would say.
Yeah, Stranger Things is good, but Stranger Things had a mediocre second season. With Sex Education's at 3 for 3. You know, who's winning there on points? I ain't playing basketball, but 3-pointer, 3-pointer, 3-pointer. Stranger Things, 1-pointer. No, it's really that was my sports analogy. Why do you not like that?
Wow,
you not appreciate that?
Yeah, I like the effort.
Thank you. Is that not how basketball works, though? Is that how basketball works? Don't you get 3-pointers and 1-pointers?
Not really 1-pointers. You can go to three throw line to get 2 free throws. They're each worth 1 point, but it's generally 2-pointers and 3-pointers from the field.
All right. 2-pointers, 2-pointer on season 2, 3-pointers all around.
But you could score more 2-pointers and you could have less 3-pointers.
Look, you're taking the analogy too far. It's really good. I like all the direction the characters head in. Obviously, it's hard to talk about spoilers, but yeah, I don't think there's anyone in this show or any character that I'm like, oh man, they really dropped the ball with that one. And like they introduce one new character this season, I guess. Do they? Like maybe one? Like which is the
one
teacher?
core? No, 2 then.
Who's that one? Who am I forgetting?
Is that it? Jackson's friend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Cal. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So they introduced one new core character, which fits perfectly to help another one of the characters whose story sort of like flatlined after season 2. Like, what was Jackson going to do? Like, it makes not only does this elevate Jackson as a character, but you get a new character, an angle, and I guess like subject matter that the show hadn't really touched on before, because Cal's non-binary.
Yep.
So like that's they have one new character, but I don't feel like they fuck anyone else over for that fact. Like everyone else's storylines make perfect sense and no one's story gets dropped, and I feel like everyone somehow amongst 8 episodes gets the perfect amount of time that their story is required. And I don't feel like anyone's overshadowed, and I don't feel like anything's ever forgotten from season to season. Like they're not rushing to the finish line either. Like they're still tackling the bus thing from last season. I still don't feel like that. Even by the end of this, it's like she's on the road to recovery, but we're still like, it's not, the show's not like, oh, that's a thing, you're over it now. Like you may have been like sexually assaulted, but it's fine. Let's move on with our lives now. I think the show's really, really good. Obviously the ending is just like, fuck, like it makes sense. And I'm glad that they do what they do, because that's the right choice for that character to make. But also just as like a viewer invested in thing that I don't want to spoil, you do have that feeling of like, fuck. But you're going to get another, I think they announced like another 2 seasons or something.
Yeah.
Or at least another season. Yeah. So it's like, well, whatever. But yeah, no, banger. Love it. Sex Education is great.
All right. So I watched the Britney Spears documentary that released on Netflix, Britney v. versus Spears. As someone who has not been following this story very closely, it does a solid job.
Free Britney.
It does do a solid job of like explaining, obviously this was a woman who was like at the height of her power, and then suddenly after her divorce from Kevin Federline and like a slight outburst, she was put under conservatorship by into her father's care. So pretty much he could make all financial and work decisions for her. Pretty much had complete control over her finances and what she could do for work and that kind of stuff, claiming dementia. Which seems bizarre when you consider that she was obviously still going on tour, still doing a Las Vegas show, and performing intricate choreography every single night.
It never made sense. Ever. It never made sense. The only part that no one ever argued with Britney was like she needed help.
Yes.
But he went, you do need help, so I'm going to control your life, but still make you work to make me money. Like,
yes. So yeah, the documentary kind of goes into like all the records of what happened and like interviews with it. It's a bit odd. They've got interviews with certain people, but they're people who don't want to talk about the actual nitty-gritty stuff. It's like they've got this doctor who's in the documents, is the named person in the documents as the person who claimed Britney Spears had dementia. He's like very hostile, doesn't want to talk about it. Pretty much says, if you can find proof that my signature was on it, I'm happy to verify my signature. But other than that, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, why is this in the documentary? It's not providing any helpful information. And then there's like,
why do you agree to do the interview?
I don't know. You know? And then like another person's like, like playing it very safe and not wanting to just talk about it. And is like, I just don't want to fight with them. It's not worth it. And that kind of stuff. Which I guess adds like emotional value. It's like, oh, they're so draining to deal with that even this person doesn't want to talk shit with them on this documentary where they're probably safe for the most part. Or the funniest thing though is the two people who worked in the documentary, like I guess the producers or whatever, are like going through this 100-page document that had been leaked to them by somebody close in the inner circle of something, and they're like, "Hey, they're going through these documents. Obviously, it's being filmed and everything. You're like, hey, read this bit. It's obviously really important." I couldn't help but think of American Vandal, and they're pretty much having almost exactly the similar scenes of them like going, "Hey, look at this bit," and like the parody elements was so apparent in those segments. So,
I know this may upset
forced.
some people, but I just want to say quickly that I completely forgot that show was a thing and how popular
I'm really
it was until you
sad
just said that. And I still haven't watched it.
Very sad that it still hasn't come back. It never will, likely, at this point.
Well, I thought they said they were doing another one. No?
I guess they never got picked up. Yeah. But yeah, I would recommend, if you've, I think there's been a couple of these documentaries that obviously come out in the last year or so.
Well, it's fun. I was going to say, the funny thing is it funny watching this and then the fact that her case cleared 5 days ago as of recording?
I think at the end, they've got obviously the text at the end of the thing and they just do a summary. So obviously I feel like this was shot a while ago and obviously the news broke at the end and it's like, we need to put something in to make it relevant. This was
a movie or a series?
This is a documentary.
I forgot. Yeah, okay.
So...
As I say, you do what the Staircase did, where they just added episodes for 10 years.
I mean, yeah, you could just do a follow-up, which we'll get to about a Netflix thing later. But yeah, I thought it's worth a watch. I don't think it's going to be... Obviously, it's too close. It's too early days to the event for it to be super details and that kind of thing. So maybe in 10 years' time, we'll get the full tell-all story of what exactly happened. But yeah.
Britney's getting that shit done right now. She's writing the book with a publicist in her room.
Yeah. But yeah, some of the shit it's freaking crazy. Yeah, so it's definitely worth a watch to be informed. It's much more easier than a bunch of news articles or something. So.
Leave Britney alone. Now we all know
he was right all along.
Yeah, no.
Soothsayer.
Yep.
And then I also watched the special that Netflix put together, Attack of the Hollywood Cliches, hosted by Rob Lowe, about a bunch of different Hollywood cliches, like the action hero, and about the Wilhelm screen, and sexual innuendos, and that kind of all these the Wonder Boy Cop, or I can't remember all the cliches or whatever. But it's a clip show. It's hey, we've got I don't know how they've got it because they've got people like Florence Pugh and other reasonably big celebrities to just talk about some random thing. But yeah, I mean it's 50 minutes long. It's a little amusing. Rob Lowe is obviously playing hardcore into the hosting thing. Pretty much the intro is I'm Rob Lowe and you're not, or something along those lines. So I don't know.
Do you remember Do you remember 20 to 1?
Yes.
I used to watch that shit religiously, and that's exactly what all that was just like
people
B
giving their
grade
thoughts.
Australian celebrities giving their thoughts on movie clips and shit. So
Maybe we should do that like a podcast version.
just do it. Just add it to the list.
Add to the list. All right. That's everything in our watch history. So let's move into a little bit of news. And the big event, Tudum, the big Netflix fan event, they had back on the 25th, announcing a bunch of stuff, giving first looks at a bunch of stuff. So we'll run through not everything they announced and talked about, but some of the highlights at least. They showed their first teaser for the next season of Stranger Things. Seems to show the setting of Creel House, because apparently every series in Netflix that's slightly horror based needs to have a house in it. Dylan, did you watch this teaser at all?
I did. It was very good.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
quite interesting. Obviously, like I don't know. I'm assuming this family that's living in this house is from well before.
It looks like it's like the 50s or 60s.
Yeah,
or
something like that. And then obviously at the end, our crew breaks into the house, minus.
They're looking for something though, specifically, which I guess is important. There's something to do with this house. It's not like they're living there. They're looking for something
Yeah, that's true.
to do with the Upside Down, presumably.
So yeah, that's quite interesting.
Got to be honest, can barely remember how season 3 ended. by the way.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to need a recap.
It's been so long. It ends in the mall, right?
It does end with
Fight.
the mall, and then she reads a letter, and Hopper is somewhere.
And then they move.
They
out
move
of
it out.
whatever the town is called. Yeah.
Will and what's his face
don't
move
know.
away. Yeah,
No recap needed. We got this. It's fine.
I'm pretty sure a recap will be needed. Then we got a first look at Genius, a new documentary about the career of Kanye West. Did you watch? Obviously, the first look is a improvised rap between Mos Def and Kanye West, but I didn't know this was a thing. This seems like it would be interesting. I'm also guessing that's how you pronounce it, because it's
Genius.
Genius.
I didn't watch this, but I'm undecided if I'll even watch the movie. I like such a love-hate thing for Kanye, which I feel like most people do, where I was such a big fan of him and like used to go tracking down all his like live late registration and college dropout DVDs and all that sort of stuff. And I wanted like to watch the live performances and whatever else, and followed it through. And then obviously these days, I don't feel like it's a hot take to say he is fucking off the deep end. So, and I refuse to listen to his last album he put out. And from what I've seen, most people said it was pretty average anyway. So I don't give a fuck. Whatever that was called, the one that came out like a month and a bit ago. I don't even fuck. I was like, I don't even care now. Like, look, I'm on the record as someone who struggles to separate art from artist, and like Kanye is way off the deep end to even to comprehend that. But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Donda, that's right.
I'm
something stupid.
There's something stupid. Yeah, so I don't know. Up in there.
And then, of course, we got season 4 of Sex Education announced, so that's good news. Because apparently, even the cast didn't know if there was going to be a season 4.
I think this has been the most popular season based on social media activity, at least. The most I've seen people tweeting about it.
At least,
remember when we was watching the first season, we were like, fuck, this show's good. And I felt like no one else was talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, not to put us on that we were there before it was cool, but we were.
I think I reviewed season 2 of Sex Education. I was like one of the first reviews to go out, which was very concerning. Because and also I put it out.
Worried about the score you were giving it.
That, and there wasn't even a trailer out by the time I'd put the review out.
No.
Because
I remember you messaging me and being like, there's no trailer. Or whatever.
So, it's good. Good to see. We got.
Is this embargo date right? There's not even a trailer.
Yeah. We got a first look at The Sandman, the series based on the Neil Gaiman series of graphic novels. And it, obviously, the tease is pretty much a teaser of, like, the introduction of the like, it's, from what I've read, like, almost panel for panel, shot for shot recreation of the comics of the Sandman being brought into the world and entrapped by this or cult who are actually trying to capture death. But instead, capture, dream, the endless. Dylan, what did you think of this one? Did you?
Yeah, I'm keen. I've years ago I read the original Sandman thing, and I can barely remember any of it. And I've always wanted to read the follow up and any of the other things that I haven't actually ever got to. But I mean, I like Neil Gaiman stuff. I like the Sandman when I read it, from what I remember. It's on Netflix and not something else, so I've like more hope that it'll actually be good compared to some other recent Gaiman adaptation stuff, I guess. But also, they're
one for one, so no one from two.
Well, I mean, American Gods was when season one was the only good one, and then
they had Good Omens, which
Good
I guess
Omens was technically shared.
Yeah.
It was a co-authored thing, so I guess you can give 50 half a point there.
So 0.5 from 2.
Yeah, they're doing a Nasi boy and Nasi.
Yeah, I think they're doing something.
They're doing that, which I'm looking forward to. But I mean, that's on somewhere else, I think. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm keen. We'll definitely be checking it out.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen. I will say here, I was planning on maybe writing an article, possibly. I've listened to the 2 Sandman audiobooks, which are currently available over on Audible.
Which you can get your first free book by using code Explosion. No, we don't have a code.
We don't have a code. Yeah, starring James McAvoy and Kat Dennings and a bunch of other celebrities. Is like pretty highly produced and that kind of stuff. Yeah, apparently also a very faithful recreation of the comic books. That will probably be a more faithful representation than this will, to a certain degree. But you know, it got me more excited to watch this, to see those kind of sequences come to life, and also how they'll pull some of the like really dark shit that's in there off. So yeah, I'm very keen for the Sandman. It's got me very excited as well. What else? We got Arcane, the League of Legends series. We got a proper trailer. We talked about it on this week's Arcade Couch, so I guess you could listen to it there. But me and Dylan both very excited. Looks really good. You can also go to explosioner.com. You can check out an article from Henry Johns talking about what you can expect from the series based on this trailer. But yeah, keen for that one. That's coming November. Going to be a series of 3 episode arcs. 3 episode arcs split over 3 weeks. So again, the Neflix kind of event thing, which I think works. I think it works even better when it's not everything on Netflix is going to be weekly, but if it's like special event things, like obviously Fear Street, like was a huge win for Netflix this year, where everyone was kind of.
It's like one of the most popular movie things, like full stop. I think, like I'm pretty sure. Like, not just for them, but just like on anything they've had. I think it's turned out to be one of the most popular things I've ever had. And it's only 3 movies. It's not even like several seasons.
So, yeah.
It's crazy.
So, yeah. Definitely looking forward to that and having discussion about it. Did I claim Arcane spoiler cast here? I believe so.
Yeah.
What do you want to watch?
I'm SmackDown.
Yeah. So, look forward to that. Coming November. Got a first look at Vikings Valhalla. That's pretty cool. Dylan, what was the biggest documentary series of 2020?
Tiger King, and I think I gave it a 7 or a 7.5 and went, it's okay, and then it fucking blew the internet up and I was like, I missed something.
But Dylan, when you finished that, did you think, I need more of this?
I certainly did not, no.
Well, guess what, Dylan? You're getting more of this. Tiger King 2 coming sometime.
Tiger King 2, the Cobra Strikes Back.
Wait, I think it does have a release date at the end of this trailer. November 17th. It says
when we figure out what the fuck this is about.
November 17th. We're getting more Tiger King, more Carol Baskin, and you know.
Look, I will say I'm looking forward to Nicolas Cage.
I don't know if he's doing it still.
Oh, I mean, sorry, I was looking forward to Nicolas
you
Cage,
were.
and then the other one I was like less interested in. Nicolas Cage, when that was a thing, I was like totally aboard. But yeah, this was just a weird trailer because it literally the first half of it's just them showing how much the internet blew up with Tiger King and being like, look how fucking massive our series was. Are you ready for more? We don't know what the story is, but it's coming. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
and the trailer makes it way too fun. Did you ever watch Tiger King?
Yeah.
Or did you not? You didn't. Did you?
I
Okay,
needed
couldn't
to.
remember. Like, it gets fucking dark by the end of it. Like, there's a lot of like really weird, fucked up shit that happens. Like people shooting themselves in the face and, you know, like shit. And then this trailer is just like happy go fun time. Like there probably was like a sex cult and like this dude was super creepy and like, you know what I mean? Like it's very, that was the thing
Dude
that
is
sort
like
of
starting relationships with a bunch of really young men. It's like,
yeah, there's just like a bunch of weird stuff. And I understand that there are elements to the Tiger King narrative and story that are so out there that you can't help but sort of laugh to a degree. But I don't really like the tone. And I guess maybe it's the tone that helps it be so popular. And if they treated it more serious, then it wouldn't be as popular. But that's the part that sort of turns me off. Having said that, I'll probably end up watching this because I feel like it's just going to be part of
the cult. The
cult.
zeitgeist,
You'll have to be part of I'm already, I'm missing out on whatever that fucking thing is at the moment, Squid Game, whatever the fuck that everyone's talking about.
We'll get to that.
So, I was about to say, no one's watching that shit. It's the most popular show. I literally walk into work today. Oh, Dylan, have you seen? Yeah, no, I haven't watched yet. Shut up, like fucking everyone, left, right, and center. It's Squid Game.
Yeah. Let's get to the most divisive thing of this Tudum event. They showed the opening credit sequence for Cowboy Bebop, the live action series. Sorry?
I'm joking. No. I said, is this divisive? But I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, so it's fair to say that, people, you either loved it or you hated it. Obviously, very going for a lot of authenticity to the original opening credits. And then people kind of judging the entire series based on this sequence. When honestly, there's a fairly good chance most people are going to skip it, like 7 of the 8 episodes.
Gonna watch it once.
I'll watch it once,
skip it the rest,
and skip it every other time. But Dylan, you're on the pro live action Cowboy Bebop train.
Yeah, fuck it. I feel like I just like to a degree I get, and I'm usually on the train of like, look, if you're going to adapt something, do something new and exciting, or don't do it at all. But also, I feel like the intro is so classic that if that's the one thing you sort of want to land, then you can play around with some other parts, then I'm fine with that. It's like, remaking Ghostbusters. Like, you don't change the car or the logo, You play around with the rest. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's like if you rebooted Star Wars, lightsabers are lightsabers. They're just certain things that you could just bring back. It's like, hey, here it is. That's how it is. And I feel like for Cowboy Bebop, the intro is just so classic. And if you're going to use the exact same theme tune and you created a different looking intro for that song, nah, your brain would be like, this is fucked. Whereas this is just classic, and you're like, yeah, this feels good. I have no problem. I think it's great. I've watched it a couple times. Got me way more excited for the series now. Like, and it also just makes me hum the theme song like all day long. So,
yeah, same. I'm very, very keen. Keen to see how they pull off some of the storylines and like what they do. Even to the extent that I've gone back and watched like 3-4 episodes of Cowboy Bebop, just to like get ready. Because I didn't watch Cowboy Bebop till like a couple of years ago. So,
really?
Yeah. So I'm not like a
Didn't you have
hardcore.
SBS back in the day? Come on.
No, or just who wants to watch a cowboy TV show? But yeah, it's interesting. Like the fan base obviously is like holds on so tightly and doesn't want anything to change. I think obviously I feel like there's a certain amount of the audience just doesn't want this to happen at all. But just because new things come out just because your thing gets adapted doesn't mean the original isn't still there and still worth something.
I feel like these people they should adapt this, and then as soon as they do,
Why are you adapting?
If it's not the exact casting that they wanted and that they dreamt of and whatever else,
or costuming,
no, don't do it. Yeah, like it's like, oh, they should adapt this, but really they mean they should adapt this, and they should hire me or us on the internet forums to make sure that everything's done the exact way we like it, or else we're just going to complain.
Yeah.
Not adapt this and do your
vision,
bestest job to add your own touch to it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, look forward to Cowboy Bebop coming November as well. There's going to be a big end of the year with a bunch of stuff. What else? We got the trailer for Army of Thieves, the spin-off prequel to Army of the Dead, starring Matthias Schweighöfer as the lovable safecracker. Did you watch this trailer, Dylan?
I did not. I'm going in blind.
Interesting.
Because I've already said it when we talked about Army of the Dead. I was like, I'm keen for this. I think this sounds good. He was the most interesting character in the movie. The universe was good and everything like that. I was very keen for this. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just not going to watch it.
It's fine.
So, unless I really have to,
no.
I'm going in
October 29th, so not that far of a wait. But yeah, definitely got me keen. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, it sounds like, well, I'll say this. It seems like it's set post-zombie breakout.
Yeah, it is. That's why I was confused, because they released the synopsis, but then I just didn't think it added up for the way his character acted in Army of the Dead.
But yeah, there is another connection to the Army of the Dead, but yeah, I won't say too much more. We got an announcement for a date for Big Mouth that's coming back November 5th. Like I said, big end of the year. And then, close out the show with The Witcher. But a few different clips, including good old Giantsbane playing a character in The Witcher with a bunch of prosthetics and stuff. Dylan, how keen are you for The Witcher to come back finally?
It's exciting. Trailer was good. Trailer's like a mix of new footage and old to sort of like, it's good if you forgot what happened, because it fills you in on each of the three main characters and sort of where they're at, while also introducing you and showing you who new characters are and who they're going to be in it and that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, I'm we're just on a straight timeline this time, it seems. Nothing silly going on there. There's several shots in the trailer where old mate Bard, what the fuck's that character's name? I'm forgetting his name. Fuck, whatever his name is. I'm sorry, everyone. The Bard who sings the song "Toss a Coin to Your Witcher." Yeah, that character. Where he is like seen getting like, I don't know, tortured and stuff. So I'm like, holy shit, what's going on there? But yeah, I'm keen. It looks really, really good. Excited.
Yeah, definitely got me keen for season 2. And like, it's not that far, like a couple of months. So, again, a thing that's not too far away, and definitely something we'll all be watching. It's hard to believe it's been so long since we've seen Henry Cavill with his white hair. So that's everything from Tudum. How do you feel? It's nice to get some of these like cool events like this. Obviously, feel like they had a couple of these this year. Also, we talked about Geek Week earlier in the year, and of course, we're going to have DC Fandom in like a couple of weeks as well. So, yeah, a nice.
It's crazy how much content Netflix has to put on an event like this and fill it with so much news that people are legit excited about. I think it just talks to how much original IP and stuff that, or even if you want original plus stuff like The Witcher, I guess. But they've got so much going on that they can put on something like this, and it's generally full of exciting trailers and reveals and release dates and posters and whatever else.
Do you think we'll see other like movie companies? Obviously, in video games has a long history of like dubbing.
No, because give it number one reason: CinemaCon. Like, everyone does their own little thing. Like, most movie studios, they go to CinemaCon. They show their movie or a segment of it or a trailer to it to press. The press then write about it. Disney doesn't attend that sort of thing. Disney does Disney whatever the fuck it's called.
CinemaCon is more like a trade show, like showing it to cinema operators. Much in the way E3 used to be, where they would show the stuff to video game retailers.
But that's why they don't do them. That's why they don't do them, though. Like, the equivalent would be Warner Brothers and whoever else pulling out of CinemaCon to do their own Warner Brothers Direct.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
I think it's probably more to do
Universal
with
Pictures
the
Direct.
film and TV industry just not keeping secrets very long. It's like every other day somebody's announced in some other project. So
True,
there isn't that
yeah.
same level of surprise. But no, I could see like somebody else like, here's a bunch of trailers for stuff we're coming the next 6 months, all at once.
I don't know if anyone else has enough. Though.
That's true. And
Apple
maybe they
doesn't.
like to like drip feed all this information out.
Hmm.
Whereas Netflix can obviously just dump it all in one go.
Netflix has enough that they can do one now and do one again in 4 months if they wanted, probably.
Yeah.
Whenever all of this stuff's out. Do one in like March.
Absolutely. So still speaking of Netflix, Squid Game is set to become the biggest ever Netflix series title.
Holy fuck.
Netflix Chief Content Officer Ted Sarandos expressed surprise at Vox Media's Code conference this week when revealing the Korean survival drama Squid Game is becoming such a blockbuster for the streaming giant that it could soon dethrone Bridgerton as the biggest Netflix television series of all time. The first season of Shonda Rhimes' Regency Romance stands atop Netflix's list of most popular series by household, 82 million, and most popular series by hours spent viewing, 625 million. And as always, it's important to note the streamer counts 2 minutes of viewing as a view. Goes on, as Sandra said, the high-concept Korean survival drama Squid Game, which premiered September 17th, has a very big chance of becoming the biggest show ever, and currently ranks as the number 1 show worldwide on the service. We didn't see that coming in terms of global popularity. As two people who have not watched Squid Game, it's kind of crazy that this show has kind of blown up with limited, I want to say, marketing, seeing as you, somebody who's on the internet all the time, didn't know what Squid Game was until I feel like a few days ago.
I did not know what Squid Game was until, I guess earlier last week. Yeah, by the time you're listening to this, early last week, when everyone was talking about it, and then you look it up and it came out nearly a month ago by the time you're listening to this, and it took a few couple weeks for it to sort of pick up momentum. I don't know who started that ball rolling, like what review or person, or what, was it just genuinely people discovering it? Was it Netflix pushing it? Like, it's just weird, like how it. I mean, good for them, I guess. I don't know. I'm definitely going to watch it now. I'm almost tempted to just skip whatever else I've got to do tonight after this and watch at least one episode, so I feel like I have some idea what the hell people are talking about, so I can at least watch one and go, all right, I know the general thing. Maybe I'll watch more. I'm undecided. The one interesting thing I have seen, though, about it, I haven't seen, luckily no one's spoiled anything for me or whatever else, which is good, but I have seen some people complain about the subtitles. Have you seen this?
Yes, I have.
Saying that the translation is apparently hot trash for
that, and the discussion around whether you watch this series subbed or dubbed, which we've talked about. Live action foreign series, you should generally not watch them dubbed. Why are you doing that? How can you even do that?
Yeah.
But apparently the translation is not great.
Apparently the translation is a cheap translation where a lot of the dialogue is just on Google Auto Translate nearly at times, is the way I've seen people sort of talk about it, which I'm like, wowza, that's interesting.
Wow, Netflix couldn't afford, or is their translator
they just
being very lazy?
They had no faith in this series and just didn't put the effort into it. Maybe it'll be interesting to see if the subtitles is. Yeah, imagine if the subtitles, people notice the subtitles updated soon, and that'll be funny. If Netflix is fuck, better update and get someone to actually translate this properly.
Hopefully Netflix releases stats of how it's watched. That's what I want to know. Because people are watching it dubbed, and that's mind-boggling to me. But
interesting tidbit on that. Person at work today. Have you watched Squid Game? No. It's really annoying that they don't have. Actually, 2 people were sitting there who both had started watching Squid Game. They both said they were like, oh, it sucks though because we can't watch it subbed because Netflix only has dubs. And I'm like, what are you talking about? they're like, oh yeah, like we switched the subtitles on, but it still left the audio as English. And I had to explain and be like, you need to go in and switch not only subtitles on, but you need to switch the audio channel back to the original language. It doesn't automatically do that. And both of them were like, oh, so this is obviously
We've never
two
watched
people
anime.
who have watched a lot of foreign or anime or, just generally foreign stuff on Netflix. So their system isn't like, because I feel like if you watch enough stuff in like, once I've watched a couple things on Netflix in the home language, I swear it's just now automatically.
I think it's just a preset once you switch it over.
Once you switch it over, yeah. But it's interesting that Netflix is still doing this bullshit where they're pushing the fucking dub. Like, come on. And they don't make it easy. It should pop up. If you click play on a foreign language series or movie, it should go, do you want to watch this dubbed or do you want to watch it in the original language with subtitles? And then press play.
Yeah, that's true.
It should ask you.
Or they ask you when you set up your account.
Yeah, even that. And if it's something where you'd rather actually watch it dubbed, but most of the time you'd watch subbed, then you can make the choice to switch it to dubbed for that particular.
Maybe we just need to put like a help out here at the Explosion Network. Here's how you switch.
Top 5 things Netflix needs to do.
But yeah,
I mean, by the sounds of it, that article would help at least 2 people. So,
yeah, I think you can tell if something's popular if they have articles out nearly everywhere with explanations for the ending.
Everyone wants SEO. To be fair,
shout out Henry Jones wrote a review for Explosion Network of Squid Game. He gave a 7 out of 10. Mostly he is criticizing the potential that wasn't quite fulfilled from the sound of it. So yeah, I'm definitely keen to check it out. But this seems like a win for Netflix, who have long been in the process of doing foreign language series. I feel like this is like, if people have gotten used to watching these foreign language series, whether in dubbed or subbed, and this is kind of the culmination of everything they've done so far, whether it's Dark, whether it's Money Heist, Elite, Lupin. It's like all these big series in foreign language.
Fuck, I need to watch Lupin.
Yeah.
As well, yeah. I need to watch Lupin.
But yeah, I feel like obviously they're a global company now, and they've got global content. I know it seems like every single week they've got like a bunch of Korean dramas drop in the feed, added to the series, to Netflix.
Guarantee they get a bunch of hits.
Yeah, I'm sure people are watching all of these like weird Korean romances and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's very cool to see, people are more willing to digest foreign content, which can only mean good things for everybody.
You don't need to remake Parasite.
It's kind of where I was going.
You don't need to remake.
Well, I mean, he's not remaking
another
round.
round.
He's doing.
It's fine.
He's making another version of Parasite in America. But yeah.
And what's his face is apparently going to direct another round, isn't he?
No, Leonardo DiCaprio was still producing it. I don't think the director's coming. Yeah, the director's definitely not coming back.
I rewatched half of that recently, by the way. That's why I didn't mark it on track because I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched about half of that movie from the halfway point to the finish the other night. Fucking what a movie!
Yeah,
that's all I have to say. If you haven't watched another round,
watch another round.
Watch another round.
We just spoilercast for another round, I believe. So
there, you go. And then listen to that.
All right, Dylan. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association is now completely revamped. They've added 21 members. Completely fixed everything.
Oh!
The number of participants in the Hollywood Foreign Press is now 105. Percentage of 57.1% women, 17.1% Asian, 11.4% Latinx, and 5.7% Black. Apparently, now you no longer have to live in Southern California or write for a print publication to be part of the Hollywood Foreign Press, which raises the question, why the fuck is it called the Hollywood Foreign Press if they all live in California?
That's a very good question, to which I don't have an answer.
But yeah. They've released a bunch of stats. It'll be interesting to see if there's any... If they've won back trust. So obviously, earlier in the year, NBC cancelled their plans to televise the Golden Globes. So, what is going to happen with the Golden Globes, which I'm assuming is their big event and where all their money is, and like that's why the Hollywood Foreign Press is the Hollywood Foreign Press. And like what that means going forward. Is this enough? 21 new people who obviously all diverse additions, you would assume, to bump those numbers up. Does this change your opinion on the Hollywood Foreign Press?
I guess the rest it kind of fits. They're like, it's 11 white dudes. And
does this change your opinion on the Hollywood Foreign Press? Or else like,
I mean, I don't know. It's hard because it's one of those things where it's like, do you actually understand the problem and you actually try to help it?
They
or
added
just
a quarter new people, like 25% more people.
Yeah, but it could also just come from a place of like they're just trying to cover their ass so they can get back on TV, and they don't really understand why people were complaining, which is, like I can see what's happening, but I don't understand if you actually understand what the problem was. Yep. So it's hard to tell right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And then round things off, we finally found out who's going to be show running Doctor Who in 2023. Oh my god, it's a case of time travel because they're bringing back Russell T Davies, the showrunner who did from the first iteration through to 2009. So 4 seasons of the show before, departing and doing a bunch of other stuff. Dylan, how do you feel about Russell T Davies coming back to Doctor Who?
I saw James Woods tweet something which I feel like sums this up sort of perfectly. Where
he does the Doctor Who podcast.
Two Hearts Pod, a new Who podcast, I believe is the name of it. Check that out. They did do an episode on this, which I haven't listened to yet, but it's in my queue. Shout outs. He like tweeted something where it was like, this feels like the equivalent of JJ coming back to finish off to like save Star Wars or whatever, which is, it is kind of similar. Like everyone in quotation marks. There's been a lot of not people loving Doctor Who with the last run with Chibnall. His couple seasons from both, I would say, legit criticism. Like I certainly can't say I've loved his stuff, even though I loved Broadchurch. And I was really excited for him to come in, but his stuff's being very mediocre. Jodie Whittaker I really love. I feel like she kind of got the bad end of the stick here because I feel like she was great and she just didn't get the right material or storylines or anything to do much. I mean, I know she has 1 season left, so we could see how it wraps up, but it does have a degree of like BBC's like, fuck, what do we do? They like run over to Russell's house and they're like, mate, have you considered coming back to reboot Doctor Who again? Would you like to reboot it like it's 2005 all over again? He's like, no, I don't need to do that. I'll just take over and let me steer the ship kind of scenario. So like, and I totally think that is what it is. And I think the J.J. Abrams relation is fair and fitting. That said, I'm keen. I mean, Russell, he had he had a fantastic run of Doctor Who. He literally brought Doctor Who back. He's the person who made it why it's popular now. Maybe not that first season. Like first season was fine. I don't feel like the first season blew up the way it was. It was definitely once we go season 2, David Tennant. From then on, that was sort of what shot Doctor Who, new Who to stardom with new audiences and whatever else. Like he is the person who really birthed into it. He's the person who gave us some of the most memorable characters and whatever else. So, I mean, he's had a lot of time off to try out different sorts of series and grow as a person and whatever else. So, I mean, I'm definitely of 2 minds. I understand the criticism. I agree with it, but at the same time, I'm keen to see what he can do.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd one. Going back to the well, it's like, really, you couldn't find anybody with a new voice or new direction. I guess, it's like a case of like going back to what's worked before and like, yeah. I mean, I like obviously the Tenet run is like pretty great. I mean, you can't argue with the results there.
I mean, look, let me say, I'm a Moffat boy.
Yeah, same.
Like if I had to pick my favorite, it's Moffat, and it's with Matt Smith. So, but that said, I still think that Russell with Tenet is the reason the show's Doctor Who got as popular as it was.
Yeah, and I think obviously that run was much more relationship heavy than anything after. So yeah, I'm cautiously I'm just cautious about the show. It's like, again, who's gonna be 14?
Exactly. Who is going to be?
It's like, does the addition of Russell T Davies mean he's going to bring back someone from It's a Sin, his most recent TV series? Much of the way Chris Chibnall brought Jodie Whittaker in from Broadchurch.
Yeah. You want to touch on that? Because there were already rumors that Ollie was going to play the character, was going to take over as the Doctor anyway. And I'm pretty sure now that Russell's coming in that I'm 99% sure Ollie is going to take over as the Doctor.
I don't know, because I thought he said he was going to be too busy with his music stuff.
He said he was too busy touring with music, but come on.
Come on, it's a pandemic. There's no one doing music concerts.
Yeah, come on.
They shoot 10 episodes a year. I'm sure you can fit it into your schedule.
It's not that big of a show, I don't feel like, compared to a lot of other things.
But yeah, I guess, again, I guess it's like, we won't know for another 12 months, maybe, what this all means.
You know what I will say, though? Like, if they have him play it, and people could complain that, like, we're sort of back to a white dude, which, fair enough. But also, have we come far enough as an audience since 2005 and whatever else that they can just straight up, would they let him make the Doctor gay?
I mean, if a character is both a female and a male, I don't think sexual orientation is really a concern.
But I mean, like, would the BBC in 2020, when's he take over?
2024?
4.
23.
Would they let him in 2024 when the new series airs, I guess, would they let the Doctor kiss another man on TV? Have we come that far? And I would hope the answer is yes. But I'm saying, like, that is the one, like, if you want to look at what could happen over 20 years between 2005 and now,
I'd say so.
And if we're going back to going back to a white dude, at least that's something different.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would. It's like, I assume there's a bunch of other gay-like stuff on BBC, so... But I guess this is more kid-focused, I guess.
Doctor Who's a kid
show,
so you can't have men kissing, because that's unwholesome or what, like that sort of
I feel like they've
argument,
had, like, gay couples
which is what
the show and stuff before, no?
They have, but they don't ever let people kiss. They'll always, like, hint and be like, these people are gay. It's very obviously they're gay. They're very obviously in relationships, but they never let them kiss.
Lips touch.
I mean, fucking, obviously we had John Barrowman before he was cancelled, but, like, his character was obviously super gay. And he got to do that on Torchwood. However, on Doctor Who, not so much.
It wasn't around long enough. Yeah, that's all the news this episode. Let's give some thumbs to trailers. Kicking things off, really short one, but pretty impactful. The Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by Joel Cohen, starring Denzel Washington, Frances McDormand, Corey Hawkins, Brendan Gleeson, and Harry Melling. A Scottish lord becomes convinced by a trio of witches that he will become the next King of Scotland, and his ambitious wife supports him in his plans of seizing power. Pretty much a retelling of the classic William Shakespeare play. I think the trailer goes for 50 seconds, but, we got Denzel Washington looking cool in like a medieval get-up, shot black and white. Seems to be shot in that 16:9, is it, ratio? I can't remember what it's called.
4:3.
Close. I mean, technically 4:3 is 16:9, right? Because the ratio is the same. It's just
16:9 is widescreen. 4:3 is the square.
Off. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, Dylan, what do you think of the trailer teaser?
Double thumbs up. I got as far as the A24 logo and I turned it off.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm joking. I watched the whole thing, but that's all I did. I feel like I could have stopped at the A24 trailer and given it a double thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? No, it looks really beautiful. I mean, like, it looks this stunning black and white cinematography that's happening, and I'm like, fuck, I can't wait to watch this. Yeah, I know. It's Macbeth, and most of the time I'll be like, I don't really care. Macbeth, I've seen the story done a million times. Do we need to keep doing this? But I'm like, fuck, Denzel Washington? Look at this. And the rest of the cast, Frances McDormand, whoever else. You see old mate Neville Longbottom or whoever the fuck's in the background there. Not Neville, the other kid. The what was
Dudley.
Harry's fuck off brother? Yeah, Dudley in the background there, and whoever else. Cast looks great, but yeah, the thing that stood out to me is just the way it looks. I'm like, fuck, this is a vibe.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is a
2
vibe.
thumbs up from me.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, definitely keen. Again, like obviously we've had Macbeth a lot. We could probably even do a series of just doing Macbeths and review.
Did you ever watch the Australian
yes,
one?
I did watch
with
that
Sam
one
Worthington
in the cinemas.
I've watched it like 2 or 3 times. I actually think it's really good. I think it's underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I do. I think that might have been the first version of Macbeth I ever saw. So, wagged uni to go watch that.
Wow.
Fun story. But yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be in streaming on Apple TV Plus January 14th, 2022, with a very limited cinema release. No words yet where in Australia, if it's going to come here at all.
Fucking bullshit.
Probably not coming to
that
Launceston
part,
at the very least.
Launceston. Look, I'm of two minds of this, by the way. This is me going, this is bullshit. I want to be able to watch it in the cinema. And then my mind goes, if it was in cinemas only, Dylan, they wouldn't show it here. You're right. I should be thankful I can watch it on Apple.
Yeah. So yeah, very cool, very keen for that one. And yeah, the internet kind of blew up for the 50-second teaser, which Twitter
I'll tell
did.
a quick, funny, interesting story,
Yeah.
by the way. Just interjection here about my cinema stuff happening. So here's my update on Nitram.
Listen, I was going to watch that
Talking about-
today, but then scheduling, I had to watch other stuff instead. So hopefully I'll be able to watch it before next episode.
Oh, man. So Village Cinemas down Hobart posted this big long thing recently where they're like, hey, we're going to show it. We're not putting up posters. We're not promoting it, playing
No
trailers, but it's there. No advertising, but you can watch it if you want. And then today, locally, my village isn't playing it. However, the independent movie theater is going to start showing it from October 14th or whatever the actual release date is. And then it was like written about in the local paper. And then because they shared it on Facebook or whatever, all these people arguing like, oh, this is an outrage and whatever. How dare that cinema show this? Like, it's a whole thing currently down here in Tassie. This, it's a constant dilemma. And, the Examiner, the local paper was like asking for, the Launceston paper was asking for, write in and give your comments and so it seems like they're trying to,
So when you go watch it, there'll be people protesting outside.
Fucking maybe. I don't. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been getting good reviews and that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's a weird one. It's like, I mean, Andrew over at the curb is in love with it. So I mean, it must be good if he's in love with it. Considering he vehemently dislikes Snowtown, which you can listen to a spoilercast of on this podcast.
You forgot to mention that, eh? How dare you? Come
on. Next trailer, Encanto, the latest film from Walt Disney's animated studios, directed by Brian Howard and Jared Bush, starring Stephanie Beatriz, John Leguizamo, Maria Cecilia Botero, Diane Guerrero, Jessica Duro, Angie Cepeda, and Wilma Valderrama. The Madrigals are an extraordinary family who live hidden in the mountains of Colombia, a charmed place called Encanto. The magic of Encanto has blessed every child in the family with a unique gift. Every child except Mirabel. However, she may soon be the Madrigal's last hope when she discovers that the magic surrounding the Encanto is now in danger. I feel like we saw a teaser maybe 6 months ago, I want to say. I can't remember exactly when.
Probably less than that, but yeah.
A while ago. And obviously, this is a big first look at the series. I believe other big point is Lin-Manuel Miranda's involved. But yeah, the first ever Disney film based in South America. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer?
Yeah, it was really good. I think it's a different, culture and place for Disney to pick up and help diversify their, I guess, animation of new age Disney princesses, I guess. They're not really princesses, but, like diversify that sort of library of characters, which is good. It looks a lot of fun. I like all the little magic stuff, the house. I was confused at the end where they're in mountains and whatever else. I'm like, is this still inside the house or are they actually on an adventure? That was the part I was sort of confused about, but all the characters seem great. It looks really pretty. So I'm keen. Double thumbs up.
Yeah, double thumbs up from me as well. Looks really cool. Like, obviously the beautiful style. It looks like a Walt Disney Studios film, like character-wise and that kind of stuff. It looks like South American Moana, you know? The character designs and everything feel like very similar and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely keen to watch this one. Yeah, just generally looks great. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be this interesting magical journey that we're all going to love with Lin-Manuel Miranda songs that someone will be singing. Really going for that Oscar this year, I think. And yeah, all these magical powers and stuff, it all looks quite interesting and that kind of stuff. So, 2 thumbs up. Coming to cinemas December 2nd. So not that far away. Next trailer, Spencer, directed by Pablo Larraín, starring Kristen Stewart, Timothy Small, Jack Farthing, Sean Harris, and Sally Hawkins. In 1991, while spending the Christmas holidays with the royal family at Sandringham House, Princess Diana decides to leave Prince Charles. So this is obviously the big Kristen Stewart, Princess Diana biopic. It's been getting praise pretty much anywhere it's been screened so far. To the extent that, you know, Kristen Stewart's been linked with the Oscar this year, like as a potential winner. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Spencer?
There's two people, as a Twilight fan, I always stood up and said, Robert Pattinson, good actor. Kristen Stewart, good actor. You just wait and see. Now we come around. People came around on Robert Pattinson already. And I was like, good. My boys made it through. Christian, people were still having some time coming around with. I mean, she's a personal shopper. More of an art house film, I guess, didn't get as much appeal. Charlie's Angels, she got to have some fun, but it wasn't quite enough to impress. Here we are. We're finally at the moment. People are going to come around and go, oh, she could actually act. Blah, 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 blah. It's here, everyone. Double thumbs up. Really well-paced trailer. Has like a thriller vibe. Because you know some shit's going to happen. I love the fact it ends on that line of her being like, I can't remember exactly what she says, but she's like, do you think they'll kill me or whatever? Yeah, like whatever, yeah. So yeah, I'm very keen. She looks very good in this, but generally the movie just looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen to check this out. Looks beautiful. Love the use of Perfect Day in the background of the trailer. And yeah, she looks like Princess Diana, which you would have pegged when she was cast. And yeah, it's obviously an interesting time to do this movie with obviously The Crown currently doing those Princess Diana years. I think
I'll tell you the difference. The Crown has the royal approval, and they'll never say anything bad about the royal family. This looks like it's.
I don't know if they do.
I think they do. I think The Crown is like.
No, I'm pretty sure. Like even like Prince Harry is like in that Oprah interview, like says he's not happy about The Crown or whatever. Or like they don't know much.
I thought they had like.
They're very much researched and like heavily. Okay. Trying to be accurate and that kind of stuff.
Because I always felt like the Crown was never going to say anything bad about the royal family, really, or whatever. But obviously, this looks like it's quite happy to say a lot bad about the royal family. So,
and yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point to put the film. Like, I think a lot of people are kind of expecting to be just like your basic biopic, start from when she meets Charles through to whenever. But like, looks like it's set during a very specific point of time, which is
it's good because then. It's good because then it means they can make it a thriller, like a proper thriller if they want to. Because whereas if you make it over a longer period of time, it's not going to hold that same sort of effect.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up for me as well. You get a lot of 2 thumbs up on the show. So
yeah, good week for trailers.
Lots of good weeks. Next up, we've got The Electrical Life of Lewis Wayne, directed by Will Sharp, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Claire Foy, Andrea Riseborough, and Toby Jones. Lewis Wayne was many things during his incredible life: artist, inventor, entrepreneur, and caretaker. After adopting a stray kitten, he went on to paint the extraordinary images of cats that made him world famous. Dylan, did you know who Lewis Wayne was, and what did you think of this trailer?
No, I had no idea. Double thumbs up. This looks like a good old time. I'm sorry that I just feel like double thumbsing everyone at the moment, but that was a really fun trailer. I had no idea who this person was, but now I want to know their story, and I think it looks well cast. Benedict Cumberbatch looks to be playing someone he doesn't usually play, sort of more of an off-kilter character. I like the fact that they're doing these sort of really imaginative scenes to sort of show you how his mind's acting at different times and whatnot. I appreciate that. It's shot really well. Wonderful cinematography. Costume design also is probably going to be a standout. I could see that being an Oscar, if anything, for this. No, I'm just keen to see the story. I knew nothing about this person, but their story seems really interesting, so I want to watch the movie.
Yeah, same. I think maybe I've seen like some of those paintings of cats. But, I wouldn't have picked that name from any other in the world. So, Benedict Cumberbatch looks great. Claire Foy looks great. Taika pops up, which was kind of weird out of nowhere.
That's just a sentence for Taika's life at the moment, actually. Like, if he's not directing, it's Taika popped up in this movie. Yeah, okay.
Okay, fair enough.
That's just kind of what he does.
Yeah. Definitely keen for this one to come out. It's going to be released on Amazon Prime Video from November 5th. So, not long to go for that one. Let's round things out with Licorice Pizza, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Alona Haim, Cooper Hoffman, Sean Penn, Tom Waits, Bradley Cooper, and Benny Safdie. A child actor comes of age in California's San Fernando Valley in the 1970s. Obviously, we'd had a PTA project listed on a lot of release schedules for a while, so it's very cool to finally, have something, an actual plot for what this next Paul Thomas Anderson film is. It seems like he's going to very much like a coming of age story back in the 70s, which he's done a couple of different films in. Dylan, what do you think of Licorice Pizza?
I'm super keen. Can't wait. The other thing, so I don't really know how to best describe this, but a lot of the other movies that we're talking about are like based on things, or like there's just something. Whereas you watch this and it's just straight up original thing. Like it's just, where's this come from? Where do these characters come from? They're made up. They're figurative. Yeah, they're from someone's mind. They're from one of the greatest directors around at the moment's mind. So how can you not be excited? Why would not to be excited about this? I think everyone looks really good in it. I'd never actually listened to what the fuck's the band called that girl's in?
Haim.
Haim? Yeah. I never actually listened to them prior to watching this trailer, and I was like, who's this girl? And then I've been listening to, so I've gone back to do my research, I guess.
Audio research.
Everyone do that. And then I discovered Paul Thomas Anderson had been directing a bunch of their videos.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the connection there? Is like
big fans.
Like is he a big fan? Is that what the go is? Like, I don't know.
I know. I think he's just started like doing music videos and don't know. Apparently, he shot a short film for them in 2017. So.
There you go. I don't know. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's too old to be dating this person who's like my age. But I'm very keen. Also, the other real standout thing about it that's hard to forget is obviously the fact that Paul Thomas Anderson did however many films with
Philip Seymour
Hoffman in them, like a lot of them, and now he's got his son in his first acting role, I believe. So
yeah. I mean, it is interesting that obviously the two leads, from the look of it, are not two known actors. They seem to be first-time actors. So, this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely keen for this one. Bradley Cooper looks bonkers. I don't know what he's doing in this.
Yeah, he does.
But I'm here for it.
Between watching this trailer recently, where he just looks like to be having a great time, not doing his usual thing, and then also the trailer for Nightmare Alley, I was like, I'm all about this upcoming Bradley Cooper thing. Like he seems to be, he has a lot of roles coming up where he's not playing the sort of character he usually does. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Double thumbs up, by the way.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up, and also, Benny Safdie getting a lot of acting gigs.
Safdie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of stuff. So
Talented man.
All right, let's wrap up this episode of What Do You Want to Watch with our What Do You Want to Watch top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
This week, we're doing our top 3 picks for the next Bond villain. So, I'm sure, obviously, No Time to Die came out in the UK, made a lot of money, like, to the extent where I've heard the reports that cinema chains have had to hire more staff to have more screenings and that kind of stuff. So that's exciting that obviously movies are making money again.
Had anything spoiled?
No. I haven't even been trying to not be spoiled.
I have muted all associated words for 30 days.
Yeah. So, of course, James Bond's No Time to Die doesn't come out here in Australia until November 2nd, which is bullshit. But if you want your James Bond fix, in the meantime, of course, you can listen to this segment, or you can check out our Road to No Time to Die, where me, Dylan, and Kieran went back and watched the entire Daniel Craig era of James Bond. Gave out in-depth thoughts of each of those films. But yeah, obviously, villains more recently in the James Bond films have been more prominent actors, like, especially when you compare it to the past history. Of course, the last few years you've had Rami Malek in No Time to Die, Christoph Waltz in Spectre, Javier Bardem in Skyfall, Matthew Alamick in Quantum of Solace, Mads Mikkelsen in Casino Royale.
I don't think those first two count.
Well, yeah, that's true. Matthew Alamick was coming off the critically acclaimed Diving Bell in the Butterfly.
Yeah, critically acclaimed, not like the more recent ones are actually like.
What I'm saying I'm more on the critically acclaimed kind of train. Like 4 of those 5 are Academy Award winners, so I think. Actually, all nominated anyway. But yeah, so I figured everybody is putting out their picks for the next Bond, which maybe we'll do down the line, probably after we discuss No Time to Die. But I thought it'd be interesting to put a list of who you think would be a good fit for the next Bond villain. So Dylan, what is your number 3 pick?
John Goodman.
Ooh.
I love John Goodman. I think he's sort of an underrated actor, or maybe not underrated, just underappreciated to a degree. Because I feel like everyone knows he's good. Everyone knows he has range, and he can hold a scene and steal a scene, and he's really good at either playing the supporting role, or I reckon he could steal the scene if he wants to. And yeah, I think he's fantastic, and I feel like playing something like a Bond villain would be a great sort of towards the latter end of his career that he's on now. It'd be a great sort of moment for him. I'd love to see him give that a go. I think it'd be great.
Cool, very good choice. My number 3, Eddie Redmayne. Of course, we all know he played a fantastic villain in Jupiter Ascending. Mm-hmm. I'm being slightly sarcastic, but that kind of energy is what you need for a Bond villain, though.
Is it though?
Potentially. I mean, it would be at least a memorable performance. And I think, obviously, I don't imagine he would be somebody they would pick to be the next James Bond. And, any project that takes him away from making another Fantastic Beasts is probably a good option. So yeah, Eddie Redmayne, not a terrible choice. Again, Academy Award winning actor.
I like your description. Eddie Redmayne, not a terrible choice.
Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Joaquin Phoenix. So sort of like obviously one of the biggest actors these at the moment, coming off Joker, but prior to that, and I mean still even now, obviously that I consider him one of the best or the best sort of working actor at the moment. And if I'm just sort of thinking, all right, who's one of the best actors that's currently working, who could play a villain, who has range, who would I want that to be, and who is that to play Bond? Joaquin Phoenix is certainly the first name that comes to mind. You know, like I think of other people, like who do I think are like really great actors, like top sort of 5 actors at the moment? I'm like thinking like Leonardo DiCaprio, but I'm honest, even after Django, I'm still just don't see him as a Bond villain. Like there's something where I just don't see him, like it just doesn't work in my mind. Whereas Joaquin, I can see it. I could see him playing that role, and I could see him bringing a lot to it. And he could play it like super crazy. He could play it super cool. He could play it super, you know, calm, collected, or whatever. Like he could do it all. So you're good.
Yeah. You know, so your number 2 is one of the best working actors in the world at the moment. My number 2 is one of the best acting actresses in the world, Frances McDormand. Frances McDormand, you look at her acting career, she's never done a big blockbuster film, and like what a better project to do than the next Bond film, where she plays some crazy or sweary or like a Frances McDormand like villain, like someone you could empathize with, but also, you know, you could potentially hate if she does the right things. I think, that seems like a kind of role that Frances McDormand's never kind of done, so I think it would be pretty interesting to see her tackle something like that, like as the mastermind behind all James Bond's demise. I am the author of your demise. Yeah, okay. Dylan, what's your number 1 pick?
Evan Rachel Wood.
Wow.
Is that a hot take?
I mean, it's pretty left field, but yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was singing. I think, well, obviously this is sort of coming off like the range I've seen her show in Westworld, where she's literally starts the show as sort of damsel in distress character, and that's because that's how her robot AI character thing is written. And then as you get to see her come through and play different versions of that character, she just sort of comes to consciousness. By the time you come around to season 3, spoilers, or not really spoilers, but slight spoilers, I guess. But like by the time you're in season 3 of Westworld, she's like nearly playing a villain. Like she's very much like now sort of leading the charge against humans and like almost like crossing a line. And you're constantly at ends of sort of being like, am I still rooting for her? Like, or like, is she ruining Aaron Paul's life right now? Like, what is going on? But yeah, she has like such a presence. Like, I think that she has a real presence when she's on screen. In particular, as she shows it during season 4 of Westworld, like she can just sort of own the screen. She has like, between the way she looks and delivers lines or whatever else, she could like be a perfect Bond villain that you could just capture, and I could see her fucking like stepping on James Bond's chest, and not in a sexual way, but more of like a like fucking like kicking his ass sort of way. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. My number 1 pick, it's Tony Leung. Of course, we saw him recently in a similar like role in Shang-Chi. But I think that would be originally, obviously, you know, the biggest threat to British intelligence, you would assume, in the near future, probably places like China or North Korea and that kind of stuff. And, you know, an Asian villain, you know, seems like, you know, a good choice. And, you know, Tony Leung could go with him both emotionally and dialogue-wise, like, go with him verbally, but actually go with the next James Bond physically as well. You know, probably kick his ass, let's be honest. And yeah, I think he'd be a good fit. You know, he's very handsome. So, Tony Leung for the next James Bond villain. All right, let us know what your next. Let us know your top 3 picks for the next James Bond villain by letting us know on Twitter at explosion.com/Twitter, or jump into Discord at explosion.com/Discord and let us know there. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or tell people about the show. And if you like this episode, thought it's worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.